The hosts feel it would be a little unkind to present this podcast without just a word of friendly warning. We are about to unfold the story of Frankenstein, a man of science who sought to create a man after his own image without reckoning upon God. It is one of the strangest tales ever told. It deals with the two great mysteries of creation, life and death. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you. So if any of you feel that you do not care to subject your nerves to such a strain, now's your chance to. Well, we've warned you.
Hello and welcome once again to the Frankencast. I'm the mad scientist Anthony Bowman. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm joined as always by the creepy masked face ominously watching everything we're doing over a grainy CRT television? Okay, no, it's just me. So I thought that I would do another one of my new Tubi finds, solo episodes. And so a couple of days ago, I sat down to watch this movie that's been on our list for the entire time we've had the podcast. It's a movie from 2021. So I guess it had just come out when I stumbled upon it. It is called Sustainable Life with Unlimited Transformations. Yes, so this is on Tubi, and so yeah, as I said, a couple days ago I sat down, I started watching this, and this movie was so frustrating and so weird, that I got 20 minutes into it and was like, I can't conceivably try to take notes and watch this movie and then have to talk about it again afterwards. I just don't know that I can maintain that level of energy for this movie twice over. So I'm going to do something that I have not done before, which is I'm going to sort of do a commentary track, and I'm going to watch this movie live. As I said, I've seen the first 20 minutes or so already, but obviously I'm going to start at the beginning and go through it. We will find out where it goes together. So obviously I listen to a lot of podcasts myself, and every now and then movie podcasts that I listen to will do commentary track episodes, and I always kind of find them a little frustrating because for the most part, I am listening to podcasts in the car or when I'm washing dishes or, when I'm out in the world grocery shopping or whatever. Not usually am I syncing up a podcast with a movie and doing them together. Every now and then I will if it's something I'm really excited about, but for the most part, I find that kind of frustrating, especially because when you listen to those commentary tracks, you have the hosts kind of sitting around watching the movie, and there's just big chunks of silence, and it feels like kind of a waste of the listener's time. So I'm not going to do that, or I'm going to try not to do that. It's just me, so it's not going to be me waiting on my co-host to fill in gaps and stuff like that. And this movie's so weird and has such extended periods of no dialogue, or it's what it seemed like from the chunk that I watched, that I think I will be able to maintain talking about it while I'm watching it without any kind of problem. And if you don't want to sit down and sync these up, I'm going to do my best to make that so that you don't have to do that. I'm just going to talk about what I'm seeing here and give my thoughts. If you want to sync it up, I'll tell you when I'm pressing play so you can do that, and hopefully that'll be the most fun you can have with this movie that does not seem great from what I could tell. But, like I said, if you don't want to watch it, don't feel like you have to. Or if you don't want to do the whole sync up and all that, no need. I should be able to just kind of keep you updated with what's going on as we're going. So we'll see. So once again, on Tubi, this movie is called Sustainable Life with Unlimited Transformations. And I am going to go ahead and press play, and we will see how it is. So in 3, 2, 1. All right, so right away we have this: to keep up with the high demand for organ replacement, a solution has been engineered, genetically combining a human with a pig. These expendable creatures, known as pumans, exist in an induced coma state throughout their viable lifespan and are stored in warehouses awaiting consumption. Dr. John Adams, the original creator, becomes the subject of his own experiment with an age reversal serum produced by the immortal jellyfish and cultured in product Eve. With his enhanced specimen, Adams believes he will regenerate his life and love in his own fairy tale ending. So that was mostly nonsense, but we know that there are human-pig hybrids, and Dr. John Adams is going to be our Frankenstein here. We also just had it say episode 1, so this is like, at some point, was some sort of online mini-series that was collected into a film, a 52-minute long feature. So we have like it's black and white, so it's serious. And we've got a car pulling directly up to the camera to the point that we just have a headlight filling the screen. And we hear someone get out of the car. And then we're going to cut to Dr. Adams and his nephew, who I believe was named Jerome, if I remember from my previous attempt at watching this. But this headlight is still on the screen. It's on the screen for like a full minute. Okay, so... they are approaching a house. They've got we're like shaky shots of just feet walking around. I can't tell if this movie is just really amateurish or it's really trying to look serious. The character design in it is absolutely insane too. So Jerome is wearing like frilly lace like shirt with like a jacket over top of it. He has a plain white kabuki mask like you would get at a craft store that you could paint something on, and either long hair or a wig or something. Meanwhile, Dr. Adams has an insane, like, cat-like face, very, like, lion-ish, kind of like Ron Perlman in that old Beauty and the Beast drama that my mom really liked when I was a kid. And we get that both these two characters talk with like a robotic voice, as like similar to, in fact, Jerome has like a light bulb that he holds to his throat, sort of like, people who have had tracheotomies have to like hold the vibration thing to their throat to be able to speak. But they're like, Jerome is like installing his uncle in like a barn or something. This is like where he's going to be working. And like Jerome leaves the room by picking up one of those little kid hobby horses and that like neighs at him, and then he leaves. All this stuff with like, human pig hybrids and stuff, like it feels like this is really trying to do something, like it's trying to be very serious, but I'm not really. Maybe we'll figure out what the message is as we go. So Dr. Adams speaks to an old CRT television. He instructs Sarah, Shara, to wake up. And she is also in some sort of like kabuki type mask. And I guess she's supposed to be like Siri or something, but she's on like an old grainy TV. And Dr. Adams is talking to her about, his 30-year-long project that's nearing its completion. And Eve holds the secret to the success. He is nearing 110 years old, and his insides are still so young and healthy, but his outsides are a crumbling mess, and he's not sure he's going to live much longer. So hopefully this Eve jellyfish process is going to solve everything. And the next step of the process is the KDK-12 transformation, which I believe KDK-12 is a reference to The Shining. I think that's when they talk over the radio. KDK-12, come in. Weird thing to reference in this. But we have like a mannequin in like a tube full of liquid. This is Eve, which I guess is supposed to be one of the human pig hybrids, maybe. But there's also this stuff about jellyfish. Also, Sarah seems like she wants to be a real girl. Like, she says she wants to feel the sun on her face. And Adams doesn't seem to be telling her that he can do this. But again, none of this really makes sense. He's telling her that, like, Eve is going to be the most powerful person on the planet, and that she must take care of Eve while he is gone. So he leaves the barn, even though Jerome just had to, like, carry him in and, like, connect him to all these tubes and stuff. Now he's like, Jerome, keep an eye on Sarah. I've got to go take a drive and think. So that's episode 1. Now we're on to episode 2. Nothing has happened yet. If you haven't caught that, we're like, there's a thing called Eve, and it has something to do with Dr. Adams' possible longevity experimentation. But yeah, she is straight up a mannequin. She does not look human, or she doesn't really look human, but she definitely doesn't look pig-like in any way. It is just a mannequin in a big jar. So we have a bunch of shots of the Sarah face just kind of looking around in her TV screen like Zombie from Pee Wee Herman or something. And there's also really bad, like, nu metal playing throughout all of this, just, or like more like butt rock, really. It's just bad music. I don't know. It is a little metal. I don't know. It's bad. And like, this is just, again, there's very little dialogue here. We're just seeing this grainy face. We're seeing Jerome walk around. He's got a lantern. While all this is happening, like, again, the default message of a Frankenstein story is that science, or the overreach of science, is bad and harmful to the human species or to the earth. But we have all of these people are these, like, horrible freaks, like this gross lion-faced doctor and his weird masked nephew. But the science here is pretty... there is no real science to speak of here in any kind of real way. So I'm not really sure what they're trying to get at here. So Jerome came into the barn lab and touched a jar full of jellyfish, causing Sarah to smile, and he said, "This should make you happy now," and then left. So we have the pig-human hybrid Eve is separate from the jellyfish. Oh, and then I forgot this. I did see this last time. The jellyfish talk to each other. There's this horrible squeaking sound. I think it's supposed to sound like whale song or something like that. But more than that, it sounds like if you, like, blow up a balloon and then hold the end and let it, like, the air come out really tightly. But we have subtitles of what the jellyfish are saying, and the jellyfish called Dr. Adams' father, and they have some amount of jealousy about Eve. They're not entirely sure who Eve even is. other than that she is a product from Warehouse E, Section V, Capsule E. That's where the Eve codename comes from. And that their father loves her the most, and that they fear that once she, like, achieves whatever end goal Adams has for her, that the jellyfish will be forgotten. And though they are just jellyfish, they seem to really care about that, and they seem to be very upset by this possibility. And the whole time we're cutting to Sarah just watching this all play out, but not really talking. Then Jerome comes in, and she says that she's running diagnostics on Eve, and that the product is stable, and that everything is going well. But again, I don't know what they're doing here. What's going on? Is Eve the thing that is going to make Dr. Adams live on, or is she some sort of bride of Frankenstein for Dr. Adams, and the jellyfish are the thing that are going to keep him alive? The jellyfish also continue to talk and say that humans are stupid and easy to control as long as they don't know that they are actually in control. The end of episode 2 shows 3 different colored mannequins with lines of breasts, like mammals have, like 6 nipples going vertically down the body. And it's like EVC, EVD, and EVE. And then that takes us to episode 3, where we have a voiceover that doesn't sound mechanical, so presumably Dr. Adams' internal monologue doesn't have the throat problems that his, audible voice does. And he's just thinking about how soon this shambling old man will no longer be a problem. This body will become better, and he will be able to live some better version of his life again. And we now have him digging through a shoebox where there's a wig and sunglasses. This is his disguise that he's going to wear to be able to go out into the world. Even though his hair seemed fine, it's his horrible, weird face that's the problem. When he's talking, I think this has been like, this is acted out silently, and then there's like voiceover. So like, his mouth isn't actually doing anything. Like, the lower part of the mask is kind of open, and he just kind of sticks his tongue out and wiggles it around. But now he's sitting back in his chair, and he has the wig and the sunglasses that make him look like he's in like he looks like Justin Bieber or something. It's a ridiculous look. But he's speaking to Sarah about now's the time. It's time to go through with the process. And we see Eve in her tank. He calls her a sweet, innocent, half woman, half swine. We're also getting shots of the jellyfish, and also another tank with just like weird blobs of something in it. Unclear what. Yeah, so I don't understand what... This feels like it's trying to be like an art house sort of... It really what it feels like is like a student film that like is trying to be art house, but it doesn't know how to be. But it's also genre, and it doesn't know how to be that either. Adams is talking about his dead wife Eleanor, how he misses her. She's been gone for years. There's just so much in this that means nothing. Like just stills of a variety of objects around the house. But I think that I'm now to a point where I'm past what I remember. But it does seem like Eve is supposed to be his bride. He's hoping that she will love him. We have some intercut shots that are in color of just like someone driving along a rural highway with a camera out the window, so we're just like seeing landscape and barns and semi trucks. And all of the time, Adams is whispering about he hopes that she'll love him, that he'll be able to stand tall, and they'll be able to be a partnership, and they'll be able to speak and understand each other and love and hope. And it's all like this echoey whisper thing. There's no way this is not a student film. Like, everything about this screams like somebody who's been given a camera for the first time and is just like enamored with the idea of filming things. All this out the window shit is just so like the kind of thing you would do in like high school or college when, you know, you got your first iPhone and it allows you to just film. You don't have to have a giant camcorder or whatever. If it's supposed to be Adam's memories, I don't know. Adams is also concerned about Jerome, who also has some sort of severe illness that's getting worse. Presumably, this is why he's wearing a mask. Something bad must be going on under that mask. Presumably, we're in some sort of future. But the shots out the window are so very obviously now that if it's trying to evoke a dystopia or something with these weird people who have done horrible things to themselves to preserve their life for longer than they should have, I think society would be crumbling more. This is so we find out the weird blobs in that other tank is the KDK gland. This is the thing that Dr. Adams is going to use to make himself live longer and heal his ailing body. But there are other things growing in the tank, and Adams is like, "What's that about, Sarah?" She's like, "Oh, I was bored, so I grew myself a limb and an eyeball." And he's like, "I don't like that. You shouldn't be doing stuff on your own. You're supposed to be helping me. You're my computer. You're not supposed to be having thoughts of your own." So it actually seems like maybe Sarah is the Frankenstein monster of this story. She has been created and is choosing to do things that her creator does not want her to do. But she's just sort of like this mostly silent observer of all of this. But Adams is mostly like he's concerned about his future and Jerome's future, and kind of, even though Sarah keeps interjecting with like this idea of that she wants to see the world, she wants to feel the sun on her face, he's not really like interacting with that. And she tries to comfort him by singing Frere Jacques. But again, you know, this dialogue was all recorded later. So we just have her kind of like immobile face smiling creepily as we hear the voice. Meanwhile, Adams is concerned that this new, like, even though this is a brand new hideout that he just moved to, he's worried about Sarah and Eve's safety, that people are going to find them. So he's trying to figure out what to do about that. Then we cut to Jerome, who's wandering around outside, still with that weird hobby horse, and he finds a skeletonized animal of some kind. I don't know if this is like a dog or it's like a full skeleton, though. We got ribs and spine and everything. He is also holding one of those old style, like the tape recorders that are that like the kind of long rectangle with the tape up towards the front and all the buttons across the front. He presses play, and it is another voice, not Sarah's, which is singing a song calling him a sleepy boy who wants to go to sleep. And then we cut back to the lab for just a second. We see like a bunch of tanks full of bubbling liquid, and that tells us that this is episode 4. subtitled Mess. So we're like 20 minutes in at this point, 1949, 4 episodes. We have another like bad metal song. We have Jerome putting on his wig, which he like removes from like a mannequin head. And like we're not seeing his face because presumably it's mangled, so we're not gonna probably see it until he puts the mask back over it. And now we're just like seeing his morning routine. He stands in front of a toilet like he's gonna start peeing, and then we cut a distance away and we hear eruption of liquid as if like a garden hose is spraying into a bucket, with the subtitle "Loud Urination." Not a thing I expected to be in this. And yeah, I guess that's he just ejects all of the liquid he consumed from the previous day in like one quick burst. Now he's putting on his weird old French aristocrat costume with the giant fleur-de-lis and frilly lace and everything. And still we're seeing him from like the knees down for all this, so like still obscuring his face. I'm really, really unsure about what this is trying to convey to us. It seems like it hates the idea of scientific advancement. It distrusts computers, like Sarah being like, an AI Siri type device, but on like a shitty max headroom blurry ass CRT television. What's that trying to tell us? I mean, I assume by the end of this that Sarah is going to prove herself to be the secret monster. Either she's going to ruin things or she's going to selfishly choose herself over her creator. But what is our director writer here trying to tell us? We've been seeing some shots of her interspersed throughout as Jerome gets dressed. And I mean, like, we're seeing all of it. Jerome's putting on rubber gloves. Like, it's just tedious. We're every single thing so slowly. And we see, like, more bubbling liquid as Jerome reaches his hand down through the water towards the camera. This is the eyeball. We were getting an eyeball POV shot, but Jerome has dropped the eyeball onto the carpet, which seems bad. Seems less than hygienic for this eyeball. And Sarah is watching this through her digital eyes. And we're also getting more POV shots from the eyeball that are now distorted and like, have like bad tracking kind of lines on him on the sides, as if, yes, he has messed this eyeball up in some way by dropping it on a filthy carpet. But like, we are also getting Sarah, her like, close up of her face, and those eyes kind of looking around a lot. So I think she's trying to like dial in and see through this real eye. But yeah, this footage through the POV of the eye is so terrible. Like, you can't really tell what anything is, except we do see that Jerome's mask is like sitting down on a shelf. So presumably Jerome is walking around face exposed right now. And now we're seeing this eye move around in the rubber gloved hand. Maybe this isn't Jerome's hand. I think this might be the appendage that Sarah said she also made. So we now have like a sort of reanimator creature here, a hand holding an eyeball moving around. We sure do love this as a trope, right? Like, we have the little thing from Reanimator. We also have, like, this happens in the Iron Giant. Yes, okay, so this definitely is a free moving hand because we see it looking out one window and Jerome in his mask looking out the window of the main house. So, like, looking at each other. Jerome's window has a bunch of, like, vinyl cling dinosaurs on it, so I'm guessing Jerome must be a similar kind of autistic as me, because you have to be either a dinosaur or a train autistic. I think it's a rule. And we get a more bad music as we get an arty shot of the camera rotating as it approaches the door. And this is Jerome coming into the barn lab holding. So I don't even know if anybody would know what one of these is anymore. It's an inflatable that's about chest height, Bozo the Clown, and the bottom of it's full of sand, so it's like a punching thing. You can punch it and it'll like fall over and then stand back up. I don't know why he's got this. I feel like I had one when I was a kid. Jerome has come into the lab and he has thrown his wig and mask and his French outfit on a chair, and we're not seeing him. We just saw the things land. So apparently Jerome is naked in the lab. Sarah does not like this and says, "You appear to be acting incorrectly." We're hearing what the subtitles describe as unscrewing sounds and then warbling noises. And then the phrase in parentheses, continued assault. I think Jerome is doing something to Eve. I don't know if Jerome is trying to combine himself with Eve, like move his consciousness to Eve, or if he is trying to... Is this a sexual assault? I don't know. The Sarah hand suddenly has like a hammer, and we see the hammer swing, and she says something like product malfunction, system shutting down, and the face goes away on the TV, and now we just have the like grainy static. And that's the end of that episode. So I think, did Sarah just kill Jerome? And now we're to episode 5, which is subtitled No Say Hey. And we again see feet shambling towards the barn. I'm guessing this is Dr. Adams, since Jerome is presumably unconscious or dead from a blow to the back of the head with a hammer. So now when Adams comes in here, Sarah is back online. Adams is like carrying around beakers and stuff. Sarah is watching him. And he's like mixing chemicals, basically. Like this is I guess our attempt at like some mad science. But I guess maybe, I don't know, this must be his like longevity potion, or else this is some sort of something he's going to feed to Eve, but he's going to find out here in a second that Eve has been damaged in some way, and also so has Jerome. And we're getting more... Where did they license all this bad music from? None of these songs are familiar to me, but they're all very bad. I think he makes this music, okay? Because he's messing with some dials on these two pieces of equipment, and they are straight up like musician recording equipment. We've got a Roland effects pedal that's got like a vocoder effect. Like there's a dial with various effects, and then some like faders and such. And then there's some other sort of like distortion pedal next to it that he hit a button on. He's turning cranks, and they're just like it's like a wine bottle opener. Like all of this is like shit you have at your house. This song is saying like we're getting under my skin, my blood starts to flow, and yep, he's running that wine bottle corkscrew into his skin. We're cutting away. We don't have any money for any sort of like gore effects here, and now we have a tube draining red liquid into one of his beakers. So I'm guessing this is some sort of like blood transfusion. This is how he maintains his young interior, even as his exterior degrades and turns more cat-like for some reason. Now we've got Adam's laying on the ground. We're just seeing from the waist down, and his legs are kicking and twitching like a child having a tantrum. I'm guessing this is supposed to be like him sort of seizing up or something, but it's really not believable as anything other than someone really overacting. And he's done with it. He gets up. He's ready to go. He's moving his legs around, bending his ankles, twitching, like twisting them around and stuff. Just really showing that he is back in tip-top shape. Again, this is all from the waist down. I don't know why they didn't want to put the mask on for this shot or something. Okay. No, now I see. We see Dr. Adams, and he's just like a regular guy again. He doesn't look like a weird lion person. He's just a guy with, gray hair and a goatee. He just looks like just some dude. And he checks himself in the mirror and just feeling good about this transformation. He goes back out into the world, and as we said when he came in here earlier, he's kind of shambling, dragging his feet. Now he's moving with purpose. He's feeling good. He's spry. And as soon as he's gone and locked the door, we have the Sarah face saying the time has come for you to be liberated. She's also messing with some music equipment, absolutely like a Space Echo RE201. This is definitely just analog, instrumentation effects. Her hand, the outside hand that she's created is controlling this stuff. We again are seeing the jellyfish who are watching all of this, skeptically, but Sarah is ready to free Eve, and again says, "I wish to feel the sun on my face." So, yes, I think, and that takes us to episode 6. So it seems to me that Adam. Oh, and the subtitle is called "Coming Back." The first couple episodes did not have subtitles. I don't know, but I think the thing here is Adams is creating. Adam and Eve, haha, right? Adams is creating his Eve. But Sarah is taking over Eve to become her own. She's making herself into a bride of Frankenstein, presumably trying to hide this from Adams. I don't know what that will mean for Adams's relationship with his intended Eve. But again, we're just getting a lot of shots of her face just staring, jellyfish swimming around. Now we've had just a black screen for like 10, 15 seconds. Just kind of bad editing here. And again, another bad song playing throughout all this. This almost feels like maybe... I have not done the research here, but it feels like maybe this is... The creator of this might also be a musician, and maybe this bad music is his music. And this is sort of his... a way to make an extended music video for his bad songs. We have Adams driving around. We're kind of camera on the dash showing his face and his hands on the steering wheel. And this song is "No Way I'm Coming Back for Your Love," as if he's being pursued by something. So I don't know if did these songs exist first, or did this script exist and the songs were written around them? Also, we get a shot of the back of the car. This is a Cutlass. This is like an 80s car in this sort of dystopian future that all of the houses look like the present. It came out in 2021. I don't know what year or when we're supposed to be here. Adams goes... He has arrived back at the barn, I believe, So despite the song saying he's never going to come back for your love, he's back, presumably to get Eve, which I assume is now actually Sarah. But like this shot is an extended long shot of just like a flashlight moving around in the distance. You can't see anything, just black screen with a white circle moving around. And then occasionally shots of Adam's feet with the flashlight pointing at them. Oh, we get one of those classic, like the little globes that you touch and the little plasma sparks come out and contact with your finger. Just a classic mad science on a budget piece of equipment. I think we saw one of these in one of our porn parodies. If you've been paying attention to like the Die Books website, my like author photo, I borrowed one from my girlfriend's kid and used it to look a little more mad science-y in my author photo. So yeah, just gotta love one of these. I think they're just called plasma globes, maybe. I don't know. And again, we're still just in darkness. We have Adam's flipping through a book with just like a spotlight flashlight where we can't read what's in the book. The title seems to be Experimental Physics. And there are also just like cut out news clippings tucked into the book that he's looking at. But one is like a really gross little like Eraserhead baby. And he says, yeah, the first one. I guess this is his first experiment. There's also just a bunch of loose cash, but that cash is all $1 and $2 bills. Like there's probably like $12 in $1 and $2 bills hidden inside this book. I don't know. I don't know why one would do that. Now we have typewriter sounds and the subtitle "Hello, Father," and Adams is speaking to Edward, his first creation, and Edward is just subtitles with typewriter stuff, and Edward is saying, "Yes, this is where you left me. I'm trying to improve myself, but you look the same as when I last saw you. How may I help you, Father?" And so this is, again, a kabuki mask with the eyes cut out, and it is placed in front of one of those plasma globes. So we're seeing the little, like, wiggly stuff behind it. So this is not... Okay, so this is Adam's original lab, the lab that Jerome took him from. And Edward says he would say he would be sad that he doesn't get to see Adams anymore, but emotions are not one of his programmed subroutines. And Adams says it's probably for the best. Emotions aren't so great these days. In the state the world's in, you're better off without them. And Edward says, but emotions are what separate humans from robots. And Adams disagrees. He says the world's gone mad and that emotions don't mean anything anymore. The world is so full of hate and ignorance. And you know how he hates ignorance. And Edward says, I am ignorant, and that's why you created Sarah and abandoned me down here. So, but Adam says no. He needed Sarah to have emotions. So I guess emotions aren't the thing that separate humans from robots. Sarah existed to help Adams with Eve. And Edward notes that Eve is missing from his warehouse database. His daily reports are logged and accessed as required, but he noticed that Eve has been removed. Adams asks if anybody else has been in the warehouse and accessed the logs, and Edward says that someone accessed them 101 hours ago, which lets Adams know that somebody else has been in his warehouse. He wants to know what they accessed, what they've been into, and we get the letters DAV. So this is Dave, some other creation. It's great that all of the creations just happen to be in 3-letter combinations that conveniently spell out people names. So Adams is like, oh no, I wonder what they want with Dave. So whoever's out to get him and out to steal his work. Edward says, codename Dave listed as a military operation, seek and destroy. So yes, this is certainly, seek and destroy Professor John Adams and Product Eve. So the military has stolen Adams' creation and is going to use it to kill him and his newer creation. So it seems that this film is opposed to scientific developments because the inevitability of scientific development, as you know, Oppenheimer has taught us, is that it will be used for weaponry, which is certainly kind of true in our civilization. Usually any new technology occurs as the result of government/military spending or porn, because people need porn always. So whatever, this is how we've ended up with the developments in home video technology. But yes, of course, anything beyond that is going to be because of its military applications. So Edward wishes Dr. Adams good luck as he leaves to prepare to face off against Dave. And we're now in our final, it says, finale episode, Oh What a Goose I Am Village. Oh What a Goose I Am, all squished together as one bizarre word. And we have Dr. Adams walking around on a beach. We see like a small yacht in the ocean off in the distance. And he is calling Sarah, and Sarah answers on like a landline with her appendage. She tells him that he has the whole world in his hands, and he says he's arrived at his final destination and needs her to step things up and listen carefully. Sustainable Life has found out about Eve. So Sustainable Life, is part of the title of this, and presumably they are this corrupt military organization that is out to steal Adam's work. And he says it's time for the final transference to occur. And if she needs help, she should enlist Jerome's help. He hasn't seen Jerome in a while, but surely she has. And she says, oh no, I haven't seen Jerome in a while. And then he has to get, wax philosophical a little bit. He's looking out at the ocean and he's like, I've never really seen a painting that effectively captures the beauty of the ocean. Meanwhile, we see Sarah making angry faces. So I think maybe Adams wants he wants Sarah to be transferred into the Eve. This is his plan. But then we get more squeaking from the jellyfish. They seem to be working in opposition to Dr. Adams. I don't know, maybe some of these squeaks are Eve talking to them. I can't tell. But they're discussing that now is the time. That now is the time to free her. Yes, okay. She must be free as the wind. She will provide. She will act as a host. I will become her flesh, and I will finally feel the sun upon my face. So yes, this whole time, Sarah has been working with the jellyfish, and we're seeing more of the mannequin Eve, that she does have like the extended mammal breasts down her torso. I'm still not sure. It seems like Adams wants Sarah to be part of Eve, but I still think that Eve is surreptitiously doing this process in such a way that she is going to escape. Now she's singing the, Mama's Gonna Buy You a Mockingbird song. And we get some close-ups of Eve's face where it is a person and not just a mannequin, heavily made up. The jellyfish wish her Godspeed in her process. But we're still seeing Sarah on the TV screen. If she has transferred her consciousness into Eve, I would think that this screen would go dark. Adams calls her again and says he got disconnected. Is everything okay over there? It's time to give Eve the final vaccinations. Prepare her for the final transport, and I'll be back to get her tomorrow. Sarah says, I'm sorry, but I can't do that. So Sarah is not supposed to be transported into the Eve body, but she is doing that. And Adams is just now realizing, we now see the Sarah TV, or now we see like the crate that, or the capsule that Eve was in is broken open, and we see the door open, so presumably Eve has escaped out into the world, but there still is the Sarah face on the TV as we see Dr. Adams collapse into the sand, pounding on the ground, throwing sand, as his whole project has failed. He's been outsmarted by his own AI, which is why you should never do technology. You should never make AI. It's all bad. I mean, AI is bad. That I agree. But now we're just getting like really fast shots that are like, I think it's somebody running around with a camera, but I think it's supposed to be the POV of Eve escaping out into the world. I don't know what happens with the Sarah on the TV and with the stray Sarah eyeball and hand. I don't know. I guess we'll see. We've got 3 or 4 minutes left in this, and we see the Sarah TV face smile. She has succeeded. And then we just have like shots of the woods with nothing, no people, and we hear pig sounds. Oh, and that takes us to credits. Sustainable life with unlimited transformations, in a bad font, and more bad metal music, and we have like one more still of the Eve capsule. This was written and directed by Brian Vadim, starring Brian Vadim. I presume is Dr. John Adams here. Sylvie Vadimsky, Richard Vadim. So okay, this is like a family project. I'm really looking forward to seeing who's responsible for the music here. Yeah, almost everybody on this entire cast is last name Vadim, so this is definitely a family student project of some kind. It's okay. We're sound by Skunk Donut Records, so yes, this is definitely in-house music for sure. I really am having trouble. The songs are all written by Vadimsky. So definitely all of this is all one sort of collective thing, and this was filmed in a music studio in New Jersey, and I'm gonna stop the credits at this point because this music is interminable, and we can talk about this a little further now. Yeah, I'm not sure if the commentary idea was the way to go with this or not, but hopefully that made some sense to you all. I could not have watched that and then had to dedicate another separate hour to talking about it. Uh, I'm glad this is one of my solo ones because this is right up there with some of the worst stuff that we've watched. And I feel like when we talk about these kind of low budget movies, there's always the rubric that I use where it's like, is this something that seems like the people making it are having fun and, they're doing their best with very little money, and, it's a passion project and it doesn't feel like a greedy cash grab like some of the Wild Eye Pictures stuff does. And I begrudgingly have to admit that this meets all of those bits of criteria that I usually have. It seems like a family put this movie together. So presumably it is some amount of labor of love and not a cash grab, especially since like this isn't something that's getting played on the Sci-Fi Channel. Maybe they're getting a few bucks from like ads on Tubi, but outside of that, I don't think they're making big bucks off of this. So they're so I give them credit for doing a thing and doing what they wanted with it. Presumably, it just is not. It's not fun. It's not pleasant to look at. It's not easy to follow. And even if you are following it, it doesn't really seem to have a message. The Frankensteininess of it in the end is, of course, that, that Sarah / Eve betrays her creator to become her own independent person. And it's unclear if we're supposed to be happy or sad about that. Dr. Adams is certainly our protagonist. He's who we're spending all our time with. And definitely the Sustainable Life Corporation or operation or whatever is sort of portrayed as our like sort of shadowy, antagonistic, villain organization or whatever. And they're certainly working in opposition to Adams, which further seems to indicate that he is our hero. But I guess he's the misguided hero in that he's too trusting of his own creation. It's hard to think that we're supposed to be rooting for Sarah or that she's supposed to be a sympathetic monster, when she does kill Jerome with a hammer and then lie about it. But then again, Jerome also seems to have gone insane and is possibly hurting or assaulting in some way the Eve body. So, yeah, there's not really anybody to root for in this movie. Everybody seems kind of bad. It kind of feels like it's trying to draw a little bit of inspiration from like Margaret Atwood stuff, like the Orcs and Crake trilogy. Or I guess now that the whole thing's out, I think it's the Mad Adam trilogy is what it's usually referred to as. And that like the Pumans being sort of like an organ farm kind of calls to mind the Chicky Knobs from the Atwood books. And then I guess the organ harvesting side of it also kind of draws comparisons for me to Repo the Genetic Opera. But as crazy and weird and messy as Repo the Genetic Opera is, and as a musical, how bad and weird the music is in Repo, it still leaps and bounds above this. I feel like this is certainly an experimental film that they're just kind of playing with film technique and what they can do. I believe I looked this up, and this is the only feature film from Vadim. feature length being sort of a bit of a stretch here, as it's less than an hour long, but it. I'm so yeah. Go looking at Brian Vadim's filmography. He is, as an actor, he's in a couple other things, very, very small things. This was his first feature film, originally, as a mini series in 2018, and then gathered together into a film in 2021. So after a couple of little shorts, he has done another mini series that has just started called Roosters. That seems like it might be like a ghost story set in the 70s. I think it's probably wise of him to do something where like the timeline is a little more clear, because a lot of this just it's hard to place where we are in time and what we're supposed to draw from this. I wish that I had more to like dig into with this, but I feel like I'm being pretty generous in trying to find a message here. It mostly feels like I said earlier, like it's a music video for these songs that Vadim and his friends have made. And it looks like, in the credits, there's people with the last name Vadim and people with the last name Vadimsky. I believe that this is like, Vadimsky is their actual family name, and some of them have taken on Vadim as their like, their performer name or whatever. I don't know. I mean, like, good on this guy for doing the thing, getting his family together, making something, presumably having a good time doing it. It was just really not for me. There was just not really anything about this that I enjoyed. Some of the aesthetics of it was kind of weird in a way that like could have been fun if the story was compelling in any way. Like the Sarah on the screen thing was interesting, was unique. I liked that as a concept, but it just didn't really do anything for me outside of that. I guess that is it for now. If you watch this along with me, I'm sorry, or I hope you at least had a good time watching a movie with me. And if you didn't watch it, I think you got the gist of what it was, to the point that I don't expect that you need to watch it. But again, if you'd like to, it's on Tubi. It's very easy to find. Hopefully I did go through my list of Tubi finds and realized that there were a couple animated films from the same production company that did Frankenstein Ruins Halloween. Those have been stricken from the list. We did the Halloween one, then we did the funny, let's do it again all over for April Fools. I think twice was enough times to dip out of that well, so we will not be revisiting any of those. But I do still have quite a few other things on the list, and hopefully we will find some gems, some things that are a little bit more enjoyable over here on Tubi. I know that's sort of the joke with Tubi, is that they've got a shit ton of stuff, but like 3 things you actually want to see, and most of it's just weird garbage. I think the hit rate for horror stuff is a little higher on Tubi. They do have some fun, interesting stuff on here that we've watched several things for the podcast on here and enjoyed quite a few of them. This just wasn't one of those. That is Sustainable Life with Unlimited Transformations. A title that makes less sense once you realize that Sustainable Life is a company. Unlimited Transformations is referring to Adam's rejuvenating, or is it referring to Sarah transferring into the Eve body? I don't know. But yep, that's all we got to say about this one. Join us, I guess. Again, I teased last week and kind of joked about how I keep pushing back the matinee with Eric. But that should actually happen next week. So join us for Eric. Eric and I discussing hopefully a much better movie, one that I've also never seen. So I'm kind of looking forward to this. My understanding is it's a pretty fun classic comedy with a few little Frankenstein-y elements in it. So so join us for that. And as always, you can find us on all the socials at the Frankencast. You can email us at thefrankencast@gmail.com. We're also over on YouTube. And of course, you can always find us at patreon.com/thefrankencast, where we got all kinds of odds and ends over there. You can always find fun stuff with me and Eric, new fun stuff with me and Hayden over there. There's plenty of other solo stuff if you're into that. We'd love to have you over there because, we do 2 episodes a week. We got a lot of fun stuff over there. We'd love to share it all with you. And once again, I probably will stop beating this dead horse soon, but my book is now out and available in the world. You've got 200 or so pages of deep dive analysis about all of the individual characters in James Whale's 1935 Bride of Frankenstein. So I would obviously really love your support in checking out this book, telling your friends. If you are part of any sort of little horror communities and want to pass on the word, that would mean the world to me. Obviously I would love to hear from anybody who has read it and had thoughts. I'm just really excited to see what people think about this 2-year-long labor of love. I had a blast making it and just really, really want to share it with the world now. So thank you all for your support there. And as always, to be continued.
Looks like you've survived another episode. The Frankencast is a production of FCR Media. It's hosted by Anthony Bowman and Eric Velasquez. Follow us on Twitter at The Frankencast, or send us a letter at thefrankencast@gmail.com. Our cover art is by Amanda Keller. You can find her at Keller Illustrations on Instagram. Our theme music is by Vivek Abhishek. Thanks for listening.